Thank you for watching EVH Gear Discussion. Brought to you in part by VanHalenStore.com. Please.
Hey everyone, welcome to EVH Gear Discussion, the weekly EVH talk show officially recognized by the Van Halen News Desk and sponsored by VanHalenStore.com. From Ontario, Canada, beautiful day out there today. My name is Eric Broadbent, your host of this very brief live broadcast, and joining me is longtime buddy, high school friend. We've been friends forever. Rob Ashby, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good. Rob's come over for the afternoon, and we're just setting up some guitars and stuff like that. And a really cool thing is that I get to see a guitar today that I used to own, and I sold to Rob about 8. We were just trying to figure it out about 8 years ago.
That's about 8.
Yeah, and I will show you that one in just a moment here. I'm just going to get the chat back open here again as well too. Pop this out. And it's been a long time since I've seen the guitar, and the only time I really used the guitar, there was one song that I did with the band, and we didn't do too many covers. We did maybe 1 or 2 covers with Finding Core, and one of our signature covers was Show Me How to Live by Audioslave.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I needed the toggle for that. Darren Moore's joining. Fantastic. No problem, Darren. I know. Good luck on your exam, buddy. One of our regulars, Darren, he's watching the show all the time. He's got his final exam, and I think he's done as of tomorrow, so no problem. Watch it back later, buddy. You get to see a cool guitar. But yeah, I used to use it with Finding Core, and you just use it for the toggle, like, your typical, Ace Frehley little toggle effect, right? The equal of a kill switch today with the Van Halen guitars. Yeah. So we'll grab the guitar and see if we can show it a little bit here. Oh, Poison Ivy's joining. I thought she might have been having a nap. How you doing, Poison? And Gary Davlin, listening while programming. Really enjoy the shows. Thank you. Appreciate that. So what we have here, this guitar used to be mine. Years ago, I used to endorse a company called what became Karapouloutidis guitars. And this form of the version is called Dot on Shaft guitars.
Yeah, it was Dot on Shaft.
Yeah, a very, very nice Les Paul style guitar. Can I grab it just for a second? Sure, show a little closer to the camera?
Yeah, sure.
Quite nice, actually. Very solid guitar. It's in the same condition as the day I sold to Rob. He's kept it in really good shape. Other than he's lost the toggle switch here, but we can get one of those, no problem. But nice pearl type binding on the side, whatever. It's got Tesla pickups in it. Very really well looked after. Mahogany body with the maple top, the gold tuners, whatever. Great sustain. And I got to play it today for the first time too, and it, like I say, about 8 years, it was pretty good. It felt like just like how I remembered it for sure. The only thing differently, I used to have the typical Les Paul style pick guard on it. You still have the guard?
I still have the guard. Yeah. It's in the case.
Cool. Really nice inlays as well on the neck. It's a cool guitar. I'm not really much of a Les Paul player, but it felt really nice playing it again, and it was a nice little throwback for me as well too. A couple other people joining as well. Will Dunham is saying hi, Ivan. Hi, Eric. Nice to see you, Will. I hope you're doing well. But it's really cool when you have a guitar that you had like on the road with you for a long time, and you get to see it again. It's a pretty cool blast from the past. And we were talking about the other one I had from this company as well. They sent me 2 guitars. It was this one and a double neck, a 6-string, 12-string. And I used to use the 6-string, 12-string for the one song, In the Sun, I was telling you about.
Oh yeah.
There's a couple really nice clean passages. As a matter of fact, on the record, the intro was done on a 12-string acoustic.
Oh really?
So that's where I would use that for that kind of portion. And then there's a part in the middle of the song where it goes into the guitar solo. I'm actually using a Line 6 Variax. You remember those guitars?
Yeah, I remember that.
One of the first, guitars that had like this, the modules and stuff inside the effects.
Right.
And I did a George Harrison 12-string effect on this little arpeggiated solo part.
Nice.
And live, I needed to duplicate that. And so the 12-string worked really well. And then I could jump over to the 6-string on the second neck to play the fancier lead part.
Yeah.
So very cool. Michael Smith saying hello to Eric and all. Michael, just in case you're just jumping in now, I'm joining with my old high school buddy Rob Ashby, and I'm blocking his face with the neck of the guitar. Rob's a guitar player himself, obviously having the guitar here, and this is a guitar I sold him some years ago, and just wasn't playing it anymore, and figured, you know what, let's put it to some good use. And Rob's been playing it as his main guitar ever since.
Oh yeah.
But it's really cool. It's neat to see again. It's been in good shape, and I ran it through the 5150 there a few moments ago, and it sounded good, didn't it?
Oh yeah, she screams.
Yeah, it sounded really nice, clean, dirty. The whole works. Nice wide range of lows, highs, mids.
It actually sounded nicer going through your 5150 than it did through my Viper.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is? What it is, tube amps just have that thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if I was going to bring down the boys' Katana amp, and we may still do that. We'll do a little bit of jamming.
Cool.
But the solid states, they're nice. You can almost play anything through a solid state and it'll sound good, but you don't get to necessarily hear the dynamics of the guitar. When you go through a tube amplifier, you really appreciate the woods, the pickups, all that kind of thing, right? Yeah. And it did sound nice through there.
It did. It sounded really good.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're just hanging out for the afternoon. We did a guitar setup a little while ago, and I think Rob was kind of impressed how quickly we could bang that one out.
I was, actually, yeah.
Yeah. I'll pass this one out to you. Maybe toss it in a case if you want. I'll take your mic for a sec.
Okay.
Beautiful guitar. Let's put it down here for a minute. Won't be a long broadcast today, guys, just a kind of a short one, but had some tremendous luck with my EVH Stripe series. Yesterday I told you about the black PV Wolfgang I upgraded with the futon parts. Today's guitar of choice was, and I think the last guitar here in the house other than Eric's Junior's Purple Standard, was my EVH Stripe series. So I got the big block in there, full upgrade in that one today. The PV wasn't necessarily a full upgrade because I already had the titanium inserts, but instead of talking about it, I'll grab it and I'll show you. There we go. All right, so the EVH Stripe series, you've seen this guitar many, many times. Okay, so Will's asking a question on that guitar. What pickups? So a Tesla pickup in the bridge, and you said that one time did I tell you there's a PRS pickup in there?
Yeah, you told me there was a PRS in the bridge.
I'm trying to think which one, because that means I would have replaced it, because it wouldn't have come with that.
No.
In matter of fact, you know what? That's right, because I remember somewhere in this house, I still have, if I can find it, you can have it just to have the original pickup.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's a Tesla pickup in the rear as well. And I'm trying to think where I would have got that PRS, because PRS sent me the Tremonti pickups that are in the other PRS guitar, and I don't know where I would have got that pickup from. But that's cool. I'm glad that you mentioned that. So, Will, the answer to your question there is a Tesla in the bridge, in the neck, and a PRS in the bridge.
Right.
Yeah, and that has a nice, really nice bite to it.
Yeah, I find too that if I could put it in drop D, or even lower, like the drop C, it has a really, really good Godsmack type tone to it.
Yeah, it would for sure.
And it just bites. I love it.
Yeah, it's cool. Will Dunham says he's going to be. He finished Rosie. She's turning out a faded violet. He's stripping down an old Les Paul and really doing a nice job on this himself. So he's been sending me pictures almost every few days. So anxious to see that. Will, that's very, very cool. And Michael saying hello, Rob. And what kind of pickups? Yeah, so I answered that. So anyways, let's go back to the what we did today on this one. So I upgraded I put stainless steel string lock blocks in here. Put the titanium string lock blocks, the saddle mounts. Everything is stainless steel, looking so much nicer than the old black hardware. Did the same thing with the stainless steel nuts here, so I can get down and show you that. So that's been upgraded. Not the best shot there, but you can kind of see it. All right, and then here's where everything comes to life. The big block in the back. I was going to put the black noiseless springs in here, but I realized I don't have any left. I thought I had one more pair, so I'm going to get another set from Adam. In the meanwhile, I went with the original springs. But the sustain, Rob could tell right away when I was just giggling. I plugged it in. Sounded great acoustically. And it's got great. You can't hear that probably, but it just rings. And the resonance I get, I plugged it into my amplifier, and it was just like almost getting the guitar again. The thrill factor I had the day I brought the guitar home was cool. But now that whole fun factor has just reinvented itself by playing it again today. It just feels like, if I can give you guys an example who haven't experienced the futon effect with this hardware, it's like everything resonates together from the nut to the bridge to the block on the back. You have to play it acoustically and electrically to experience it. It's like no other. You literally have to experience it. And you felt it after too. You felt it just the way he was playing. He was playing acoustically on the couch. And I was like, and that is good, because when you're behind the guitar, and just like an acoustic guitar too, you don't get the experience of what it was like to be out in front of it. So I was just picking up all my mess of parts and tape and strings and stuff like that. And I put the New York XL strings on here from D'Addario as well too, because it needed it. I figured I wasn't going to change the strings on this guitar. I knew there was going to be an upgrade job here in the next couple of days, which is now today. I figured let's do everything at one time. The hardware, new strings and everything. And when Rob was playing it, it sounded really great. Really nice. I walked away and got to really absorb what my guitar sounds like being in front of it. You don't get to do that too often.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. I've noticed that too when I've done work to that Les Paul. And I get like a friend of mine to play or whatever. I don't get to hear it from being behind it, but then being out front, like you said, it just changes the whole
dynamics. That's right. Yeah, it does for sure. Rob and I were talking a few moments ago too. Poison Ivy knows this story, but one of the first times Rob got to ever see me do anything music-wise, it was back at the high school where we went to high school together.
Yeah, Blenheim District High School.
And one of the cool things back in the day, that would have been the first band, one of the first ones, anyways, with Sean, right?
Yeah, that was Heartbreaker.
Heartbreaker. This band called Heartbreaker. What a name! We're like kind of the Poison, like the the Poison copy of the day. We had the spiked hair, football jerseys with the mesh and spandex pants, the whole works.
Yep.
Nothing left to the imagination. And our singer, his dad owned a music store. And so we had the best of the PA system, the best of the lighting, the best of the sound guys, because the guys that worked there doing sound for professional bands were our sound guys. And went and played this high school dance, and it turned into a near riot because the principal is one of these guys walking around with a dB meter all the time. And, if you're 1 dB over the level, you're done.
Yep.
And this guy was a giant too, eh?
Bob Fox.
Yeah. And he goes over to the sound guy, and says, you got to turn those guys down, they're too loud. And so the sound guy comes over to me and says, you're too loud. The principal wants us to turn down. I'm like, turn it up. No, we're not turning down. Or actually, first time I just said, no, it'll be okay. And then he said, come up to us again. He got another warning. I said, no, I'll turn it up. So he eventually turned it up. And first show I ever played where it was like a sellout crowd. I played a lot of shows where they certainly weren't sellouts, but this was a sellout crowd. And how many people would you say would be in that gym?
There had to be probably, I would say, 150, maybe 200 people.
Yeah, so for a kid band, that's pretty cool. So I was excited. And how many songs we do? Like 2 or 3? 2?
Yeah, you guys were just into the third song when Foxy pulled the plug on it.
And literally everything went dead. Just like the lights go down and the smoke just kind of lingers off and goes away. Complete darkness in there. And I remember here's me like this little rooster in the hen house, and I jumped off the stage and tossed my guitar to somebody, and I went after the principal. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And this guy, like I said, at the time was like 6'8". I'm like maybe not even 6 feet yet, and he grabs him by my head and says, come over here, boy, settle down. And like picked me up by my head, and so trying to calm me down because we were just off to a great start. And then kind of like calms me down, whatever, and it's all good. And it's all right, whatever. And at this point, we're not getting paid, I guess, but looking by it, because we had agreed to a certain amount of money. I don't think we had contracts in the day, but
I don't think so.
I don't think we did. But anyways, so I calmed down, whatever. And then he says, okay, I'm going to pay you, but you're only going to get half of what I was going to pay. Then I went off again. I went off like an idiot again on the guy. And then the police were called. And and you got involved somehow with the cops.
Yeah, I did. What happened was while the guys were in the dressing room, or the classroom, I guess you could say, right? Yeah. While you guys were in there doing that, there was me and about 4 or 5 other students. We're walking up and down the hall. Our fists are in the air. We're screaming, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. I mean, we had a nice chant going. We had probably about 30, 40 people in on it. Yeah. And Mr. Fox had caught me and the other girl, Jennifer, and immediately took us into the office and sat us down and he didn't say anything for about 5 minutes. He just sat there and scowled at us.
He's a very stern looking guy. He could scare you pretty good.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
And then he finally turned around and he said that this behavior was unacceptable and the whole bit. And he turned around and he said, you guys are going to have to leave the dance. And I was like, okay, cool. And then he turns around and he says, and then you guys are banned for like 3 dances. Yeah. And I was like, oh, geez, whatever shall I do?
I know, you can't go back to a dance. Unfortunately, I got a little bit more of a harder slap on the wrist. So after I went off on him the second time, the police were called in, and I was going to be asked to be escorted off the property. I'm like, can I at least change? Like, literally take me off the property. I'm like, can I change? I'm in spandex pants at this point. It looks a little awkward to be put in the back of a police car. And so they let me change, whatever. And coming back through the small little town, so we left the premises, whatever. Now I was actually prohibited from ever appearing on the school property again. And many years into the future, I had to go there. I had an intern working at this company I was at, and I had to go with this intern, like a student co-op person, I guess you call them. Yeah. They work at your place for free to learn kind of stuff like that for their school credit. And I had to go back to watch this kid give this presentation. I'm like, oh man, I hope they don't remember my name. And sure enough, there's like this old secretary. She's like 102, still working there. I'm like, you don't remember me, right? I didn't have the mustache then, so I think I was pretty safe.
Right.
So she didn't remember me that way. But go back there and it was all good. But it was so coming back to my hometown, or this country little spot, we go through this little town, And so we're coming through, and there's a police car. Then he's doing like with the ride programs where they check, see if people are drinking or whatever like that at night. It's a Ontario Provincial Police car. And look in the car, and a couple of people are in the car with me, and I got all my band equipment in the back of the car, and the cop's like, "Where are you guys coming from?" We said, "Oh, from this little town, wherever." He goes, "Oh, did you hear about the ruckus there with this band? Apparently this band, there's a near riot, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "No, sir, duh. My hair's all spiked up, look like I'm in a band. Don't know anything about it. Nothing about it. Okay, anything to drink? No, not at all, sir. We're too young to drink. Okay, let us go." And we went by, and it was all good. But little did they know, if it would have been me, if they would have known it was me and the band causing the ruckus, they could have done anything. They could have found a problem with the car or...
Actually, after you guys left,
Mm-hmm.
I had went to the gas station that's just beside the high school.
Yeah.
I went and got remember the old glass bottles of pop?
Mm-hmm.
I got the 1 liter glass bottle. I think it was like of Crush or something.
Oh, I know where this is going.
I walked back to the gymnasium where the dance was being held, and I grabbed the window and I jumped up and I hollered, "Foxy sucks." Now I'm not going to say what I said.
Yeah.
And then I took the bottle of pop and I threw it and smashed the window completely out of it.
Oh no.
Yeah,
that's good.
And I ended up getting 2 police cars chasing me through the town for a bit.
That's not good.
It wasn't good.
Yeah.
But hey.
When you're back in high school, I mean,
I was trying to support you guys.
I know. I appreciate it. Do you remember, I've told this story on the show a few times. Remember my El Camino I had?
Yeah.
Remember that car?
I remember that car, yeah.
It was the coolest thing, and I've said this story many times on the show, but there's a few new people joining on the chat. I had this El Camino. It was my dad's Chevy El Camino, and I really miss that car. I rolled it and rode it off, but it was, I don't know much about cars as far as the engine and stuff like that. From what I was told, it was like a 350 engine in it, and it had the posi rear end where both wheels would have power takeoff. And with the El Camino is like a pickup car, like really like a Ranchero or whatever. And I think actually Chevy's talking about making one again, which would be cool. Kind of like Camaro look in the front, but a pickup truck in the back. It was super, super fast. And I'd go out in front of the high school at lunch where we had this dance, and I would do what they call a brake torque. You put your foot on the brake, and then you just floor it. And the front brakes are grabbing, and there's no weight in the back end, so this car is just sitting there burning up. And it would look like the space shuttle taking off, and all the kids in school were like, "Yeah!" And one of a few guys that actually had a car at the time, and it wasn't my own, it was my parents. But I remember going home, my dad would say to me, he'd say, "So you're hot dogging in a car again?" And I'm like, "Why would you say that, Dad?" Well, no, not at all. And he goes, and he puts his rubber ball on the table, because I would do smoke shows on the way home from school too. I'd say bye everybody, and I'd smoke the tires. So the wheel wells of the car would be coated in warm rubber, like literally coated, and he'd make a small little ball. And he said, "Explain that." And I said, you know what? Somebody honked at me when I was at the light, and I had to take off fast because they wanted me to go. And I might have squawked my tires once. He goes, "Do I look like an idiot?" You know what I mean? Do I look like an idiot? And so I'm all right, Dad, I'm sorry. So he made me work off those tires. And eventually he's like, I'm gonna make you pay for this car. It's gonna be your car. You're gonna be responsible for the oil. You're gonna be responsible for the upkeep and all that kind of stuff. So it was a good lesson, in the long grand scheme of things, Yeah. So it was cool.
You're actually lucky. I got beat. My dad had a 77 Ford F-150.
Oh yeah.
With the big 400 in it.
Yeah.
And not only did I have to put 2 new sets of tires in it, I put 4 rear ends in it.
Oh, geez.
Because I took them out from racing. Yeah. And just squawking. And of course, with a truck, there's no weight in the bed, right? Mm-hmm. So every time I go around a corner, it would always be sideways and then slide her back, right? So yeah, after putting, I think I put 3 sets of tires on it and 4 rear ends in it, and of course it come out of my pocket.
Yeah, it's expensive. The good thing about that is it makes you appreciate stuff. That's where I think it's really cool too with our music thing. If we relate this to music, get kids, they go out and do a summer job, whether it's paper routes or working in the corn. That's a popular thing here in Canada, probably in some of the rural areas in the States too, detasseling corn. It's a hard job, but it's good money. These days a kid can make $1,000 or $2,000 in the summer, but when they buy their own equipment, in this case buying cars, it makes you really appreciate it, because when mom and dad buy you something, it breaks, it's like, oh, they'll buy me another one.
Exactly.
Like a $1,000 iPhone. Yeah. I dropped it, Mom, and I broke it. I'll just get my mom to buy me a new one. No, it's not going to happen. You do appreciate things a lot more that way. What's funny about this car, look it up after the show. For those of you that don't know a lot about cars, look up like a 1970, a late 70s El Camino, so you can picture where I'm going with this story. I went to see Van Halen with about 8 people, in an El Camino. I drove. Wow. Yes. Now, we got 3 people in the front because I think, if I remember correctly, it was a bench seat in the front. And there's no back. There's no back whatsoever. So the back window is right there like a pickup. And then there's a bed in the back. And I had, like, I guess, 5 people in the back. And I remember going over these railroad tracks. I'm like, watch this, guys. And I'm jumping, which is such a bad thing looking back now because they could have all been dead. It almost looked like people coming across the border illegally when there's like 50 people in a vehicle, right?
Right.
And we were hitting the tracks and they're jumping. And I never thought about how the temperature is going to change. At the end of the concert, it's 2:00 in the morning coming home from Michigan. And we didn't take the car across the border because they wouldn't allow that. So we took the tunnel bus from Windsor. Oh, okay. And we're okay that way. But 8 of us went to see Van Halen, either Cobo Hall or it wouldn't have been Silverdome, Joe Louis or Cobo Hall in Detroit. And this would be back around 80. Actually, it would have been on the 5150 tour, so 86, somewhere in that neighborhood.
So that would have been Cobo Hall.
Yes, Cobo Hall. It was Cobo Hall. Yeah. After that, the next time I saw the Monsters of Rock tour, which would have been the Pontiac Silverdome. And I talked about that was a good one too. Van Halen, Kingdom Come, Dokken. Who am I missing there? Metallica, Scorpions.
Oh wow,
that was a big bill.
Jeez, that was a big bill.
Yeah, that was a good one. But the sound sucked in the Silverdome. I was talking about that the other night on the show. Jump back over to the chat for a sec. Got a bunch of people. You can see how I normally have to do this, right?
Yeah, I see
Rob
that.
Gets to see kind of behind the scenes here what's going on now as well too. Where are we at? We've got 21 people watching. Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate that. Let me go back here. So Will's going to be sending me some more pictures of his guitars. Coming really good. I answered the question on the pickups. Sean Zimmerman's joining. Says, hi, Eric and fellows. Good to hear from you, Sean. Quentin James, hey, buddy. Doing good. And I can't pronounce this, 86 Rokita, I believe, if that's, or 86, something like that. Hey from Portugal. Get a lot of people on the show that join in from all parts of the world. We get nice. Australia, Portugal in this case, Italy has some fans over there, Germany, Japan, things like that. And it's really weird too with the time zones. This kind of works nice when I do a show at this time because it's right in the middle of everybody's time zone.
Yeah, exactly.
I can, it's like what, in Japan, it would be like supper time.
Yeah.
No, actually, no, it'd be like breakfast time tomorrow kind of thing almost. Yeah. Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Something like that.
Yeah. Let me see. Like Back to the Future, you're just too loud. Exactly. That's from Charles. JJ Collins says, hi, everyone. Will Dunham saying hi to Quentin. Let me see here if I missed anyone else. Adam's joining in. Adam's one of our regulars here as well, too.
Oh, cool.
The Law saying, what's up, guys? El Caminos were so cool. Yes, you know the cars. That's a great car. And you always get these people on Facebook, they're making these random things and they're saying, oh, look what Chevy's bringing out, the new such and such. I'm led to believe that there might be an El Camino coming. I don't know if that's a fact. People can doctor those photos, but the front end looked like a Camaro and the back end looked like the truck.
I heard something about that.
That'd be really cool if it was. And they all also were joking about the Firebird, bringing the Firebird back, Pontiac, whatever. Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen, but this El Camino looked pretty realistic. So hopefully that's the case. Country Boys, as Poison Ivy saying, yeah, Country Boys. Man, we tell you some stories, some of the things, like the trouble you get into when you live on the farm in the country. There's nothing else to do.
Exactly.
Burning stuff up. Like my cousin and my dad too had gas pumps, and we'd be bored, and we'd be soaking all kinds of, they'd be knocking trees down, stuff like that, dead trees, and making this mountain out of these dead trees to burn them one day. We'd soak them in gasoline and light them up.
Wasn't your dad a pilot too?
Yep.
I thought so.
Yeah, we had some pilot stories on here too. And when you use aircraft fuel to light stuff up, that's a fire.
Oh yeah.
That's a fire.
Oh yeah.
It's like rocket fuel. Put that stuff in your vehicle and see how fast your car will go. It makes a nice fire. Trust me, I wasn't an arsonist. I just, when you're on the farm, you just burn stuff up. It's like, oh, there's a picnic table. What will it do if we put gasoline on it? What I mean?
Exactly.
It's whatever.
We used to do the same stuff in town too.
Yeah.
I mean, we were bad in town.
Yep. I guess, nothing else to do, right?
Well, it was either that or, you'd walk around town with your, we'd have to pull a wagon behind us because we'd have the great big ghetto blaster.
Yeah. Right? Big ass radios.
Oh, yeah. And, we'd be pumping out stuff like, Kiss and Van Halen, Cinderella, Motley Crue. And then later on, we got into the harder stuff, like Metallica, Megadeth.
Yep.
Anthrax, Exodus, stuff like that. And, it would just really, just piss the police off.
Yeah.
Because here we are walking around at 2 o'clock in the morning, and we've got this ghetto blaster cranked right up, and we're cranking out Halloween Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1 or something.
And it's probably echoing across everybody's house.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was fun.
Hilarious. Small town country living, nothing like it. Yeah, that's what Poison Ivy's saying. And Charles Beckham says, I live deep in the heart of Cowtown. Yeah, and we're in a much smaller town now. We don't say I think Sandra Lee said a few times where we live. I just don't openly tell people where I live. But the town we live in now, like I've told you before, the home is like an 1864 home. I love it. Very, very quiet community. People are nice here. Like when you walk down the street, they make you say hi to them, which is kind of nice.
Yeah,
is
nice.
Totally changed. But it's still, even to this point, we're joking about this the other day. I was talking about my friend Howie from London, and we were saying how when he was 9 years old living in California, he went and took about 3 connecting buses to go see Frank Zappa. Wow. 9 years old, and I don't let little Eric walk 300 yards down to Max Milk to go buy a pop. Exactly. It's a different world today, and it is what it is. And you know what, where people have changed these days. So you and I and the kids like us as kids, breaking stuff on the farm and doing crazy things in town. Now what do kids do for fun? They go on the internet and they troll people.
Yeah.
That's their form of fun.
Yeah,
you suck, dislike, it's like whatever, get out and have some fun.
Like I said at the start of the show, haters be hating.
Yeah, that's right. It is what it is. And you know what? People that prevail, whether you're in entertainment or you're an athlete, whatever, no matter how much you succeed, no matter what avenue you're in, there's always going to be people that hate. But, we've got to see ourselves, known each other for a lot of years. We've got to know a lot of musicians in our community, and we share a lot of the same interests and stuff like that. So it's really, really cool. That's why it was fun today, just to get together and do this. And I'm hoping in the near future, too. We were talking about Todd, my our mutual friend as well, too. Oh, yeah. And old singer from my band. I want to get him over here as well and have him on the show. And if all goes well and I give him a beer or two or something like that to get him loosened up, maybe we'll do a bit of a duet on the air. It'd be pretty cool. Play some of our old music acoustically or electrically or whatever. That'd be fun. Yeah, no, it would be a lot of fun. And people are talking about saying cow tipping. Remember that? What was that cartoon? The guy, is it Kevin James? The guy that played in what was the name of that show? Anyways, Kevin James is in that cartoon as well too. He does Mall Cop,
Oh yeah.
But what's the name of that show he was on? The drama
King of Queens.
King of Queens, great show. And he was in that movie. Sandra Lee will probably remember the movie where it says, we live on a cow farm. What was that called? It was an animated kids movie. It'll come to me in a minute. If anyone knows the name of that movie, Kevin James is in, and they're doing the cow tipping on the farm, and that was really funny. And they're looking out the windows, and we live on a cow farm, and that's what they did, tip over the cows and stuff. And it was pretty funny.
We actually did it once.
Did you?
Yeah.
I've never done that. I've never done that.
We actually did it once. It was all right until we tried to tip over a bull.
Oh no! Yeah. Oh yeah, that's not good.
No.
I know better than that. Yeah.
You can't run in a straight line when you're running from a bull.
No.
You have to zigzag.
Zigzag. Just like someone's shooting buckshots at you.
Yeah.
Zigzag.
I've had that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You go out in the old apple orchards.
Taking some apples?
Yeah, taking some apples. And we've had rock salt fired at us. And,
yeah.
I was a bad kid growing up.
Yeah. Well, weren't we all, right? It's just, what else you do? It was a different time back then. Nowadays, it's almost, I think they make apps to do what we did as kids.
Probably.
Let's simulate the jerks, that's what we were back in the day, right? But it was different times back then and different world today. It's good and bad. Shotgun and Dynamite, yeehaw, that's right. That's from Chase Ombre. And cow pie tossing, epic blast, except for the fresh pies. Yeah, you don't want to be grabbing a fresh cow pie. Never. I've stepped in a few, but I've never picked one up. Thank goodness. Let me see here. Adam says living in a small country too. It's a small country town, peaceful, quiet living. Will Dunham says, this show is my heart. I love this show. I always drop what I'm doing for EVH Gear TV. I appreciate that, buddy. That's really nice. Thank you. Right. Charles Beckham says, any haunting stories with a house that age? Don't get me going on that, because I'm a believer in just about everything until I'm proven otherwise. So, how do I take religion? I believe in I'm not a practicing Catholic or anything like that, but I believe. And when it comes to ghosts, I believe in extraterrestrials until I'm proven otherwise. People are trying to kill my moon landing. I'm a big astronomy fan, and everyone's trying to say it didn't happen, man. It was filmed in Studio B.
I've got some stories about ghosts and stuff.
Well, Sandra says up here in my closet, I have a walk-in closet up there for me. It's a real small one, and people were obviously short back in the day because it's like this tall. So I have to duck down and get in this thing, and I always hit my head. And she's like, to shut the door for the ghost or open it up for the ghost or whatever she says. And I'm like, if I ever see a ghost in this house, that's it. I don't care how much I love this place. I don't care how much I said I'm never going to move again. We're out of here. You know what I mean? But so far, we've been here for, a year and a half, and it's all good. So I think they like it. They like Van Halen. So... There you go.
What ghost doesn't like Van Halen?
That's right. So as long as I keep playing the Van Halen, I think we're okay. So
there you go.
So that's no ghost stories that I can share at this moment. So, and if it ever changes, then I'll let you know. And here's a really funny one from the same person. From Charles says, at least you didn't try to milk a bull. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True.
That could be a little bit awkward.
A little bit.
Will Dunham says, I used to sleep in the Halloween house in South Pasadena, California. Very, very cool. I would not do that. No way whatsoever. I don't like going through cemeteries late at night. Don't like doing that kind of stuff. I'm not superstitious, so I'm not really scared of that stuff. It's just like one of those things where, why do it? You know what I mean? I know that there again, I've had some parties in the day as a kid, you know, at your buddies go to the cemetery and you're having some drinks and stuff like that. Different story.
You remember the old mental hospital?
Oh yeah. It's now gone.
It's now gone. It's now rubble.
Yep.
I was actually out there because I'm a security guard. I was out there for 4 years looking after it while it was abandoned.
Yep.
And man, I'll tell you, I got some stories.
I'll bet. Yeah, this was a place that has some horrific stories to it, like, you know, whether they're true or not. And I won't even get into it because it's not fair to say things I can't prove.
Exactly.
But they're stories, right?
Yeah.
And the legend and urban legend, and they grow and they grow and they grow. But obviously they come from somewhere. And I could see some creepy stuff out there.
There was one particular night, and I'll just kind of like briefly touch on this one.
Yeah.
But there was one particular night I was sitting off kind of like in the back 40, and I was doing my paperwork, and there was a storm coming in from across from where Chatham is, right?
Yeah.
And every once in a while I could see a flash, and I was like, wow, man, the lightning's getting close. And I'm not looking up. I'm still doing my paperwork, and I'm still doing what I got to do. And all of a sudden, it was like there was like a huge flash that went off, like almost right in front of my face. And I looked up, and I could see this. It's almost like somebody's carrying an LED flashlight at hip level. Okay. And it's bouncing across the lawn. I'm like, oh, great. Here comes my supervisor. I'm just not in the mood to deal with him tonight. You know, I'm not in that mindset. So I was like, all right, you know what? And I got a heck of a set of brights on in my van at the time, right? So I was waiting. I had my van running because, you know, it's cold. And I pulled back on my brights. There was nothing there.
Oh, wow.
So needless to say, I didn't stick around in that spot long. I went for a drive around. I must have drove around for probably like an hour.
Yeah. Well, like Sandra Lee Poison Ivy saying in the chat, she said, and here you go. So we can elaborate a little bit on this because Sandra's cousin, and who's also her best friend, worked there as well too for many years.
Oh, nice.
Right? He was I'm not sure, one of the caretakers or whatever, not security, but he was one of the people there.
Right.
And she said bad things happened at that place many moons ago, and it's true. I didn't want to say too much, but now that we have a little bit of factual information, like there was actually some lawsuits now, some class action lawsuits that have been settled from residents and families that used to be there because there's abuse and things like that. And you know what? That happens. Sadly, that happens in a lot of places across the world where there's caretakers, and you know they take advantage of people and things like that. Sometimes it's for the money, sometimes it's just for they're bored and blah blah blah. So bad things happen in that place, and it gets some bad mojo, bad juju, or whatever, right? Yeah. So if it can bring out some horrific stories, her cousin said a lot of the stories are true. Will Dunham says, from all the time in the graveyard with my dad's grave for quite some time, always been close to the spiritual. Yeah, and I'm one of those people too where until someone proves something, you know, that proves it to be opposite of what I believed in my whole life and literally gives me proof and not a conspiracy theory, then I will say, then I'll form my opinion at that point. You know, I think it's a lot like kids. You know, kids up to a certain age, that's why kids are so cool about making friends. You go to McDonald's, you go to the playground. Oh, this is my new friend Bob. Oh, how long have you known Bob? Well, I just met him on the slide.
Yeah, exactly.
Because kids, they have no, it's a good thing and a bad thing. They have no fear. They don't believe, they don't know anything yet as far as what's true and what's not true. You know, you could say I can fly if I flap my wings fast or my arms fast enough, and they'd believe you, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you can't? No, I was just kidding with you. But that's how innocent people are. And that's where I kind of look at my thing, where I just say, okay, well, if I can't be proven otherwise, I'll give it some merit. Let me see here. Will Dunham, there would be an orb. I have seen them in many shadows. And Sandra Lee is talking about orbs. Yeah, she's seen some really cool ones in some photos, some family photos. And we've both of us have lost our parents. So neither one of us have any parents. And Sandra's seen a lot of cool orbs and photos. And as a photographer myself, some things can be like defects in the photo, but there are also things that are definitely not defects. In her case, some things that were not a defect in the camera, wasn't necessarily a light flare, a lens flare, anything like that. It's something that appeared that the eye didn't see and it's captured. So you can take that for what it is too. You never know, right? So it's very, very cool. Charles Beckham says, I would watch Ghost walk up and down the hallway, open my door, nobody. Oh, he would literally watch them. Yeah, I've heard some creaks and places like that, and some other houses too. And Charles says that this happened regularly, nobody home but me. You know what Charlie S is saying? Hey, Eric, you know, one of these days we'll have to do a ghost story one. There's some really creepy ass stuff out there. There is actually too, another one of my old friends back in the day too, had a house, and there was people that died. Matter of fact, there was old family members of my family, my heritage, the Broadbent family, back in right around when this house was built. This is like in the 1860s. This was built in 1864, but in the 1800s, whenever any historians out there, maybe you know this. When was the Black Plague and the bubonic plague and all that kind of stuff? Do you know when that was?
That was more around the 1700s.
Okay,
I think.
So it must have been around then, because behind this friend's house there's a cemetery with all my family's ancestors, all the Broadbents, and they all died during the plague. And there's babies, you know, because it would say, you know, the age would say like 2 weeks old, whatever, and then there'd be somewhere like, I think the oldest age was probably like 30s, very early 30s. So it wiped them out. And at this friend's house, which was a very big house, he lived in this property now. You hear, I'd be there to hear the same thing too. Like, it's just me and him in the house, tables being moved and chairs being moved. And, you know, at the time I was spooking us out. And if you want to try to see through that, you could think maybe the house is shifting this or that. But I mean, literally chairs sliding and stuff like that. So that's kind of creepy.
Well, that's kind of like the old Baldoon settlement.
Yes.
For the longest time, they were having problems out there where they would have like musket shot fly through the window.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, and just really creepy, odd stuff.
Unexplained.
Out there.
Unexplained. And not to change the subject, I just see a birthday boy in the chat, so I want to say hi to him. Joe Wentz. You don't know him. He's a fellow guitar player. He does a lot of shows as well, too. He's a truck driver down in the States. It's his birthday today. Joe, I hope you're having a great birthday, buddy. And I hope you're getting spoiled by the family. He says he would never mess with anyone's grave or headstone. Oh, no. And that's one thing that really, really irks me is when you see these kids that go through the cemeteries and vandalize. Yeah. You know, I feel bad if I'm walking. Like, sometimes I've gone to the cemetery to go visit my mom, whatever, and I feel bad if I step like in the pathway. I don't mean it to be disrespectful. It's just like, whoops, I'm not supposed to be here. I don't even like to do that because you don't like to walk over someone's gravestone or whatever.
Exactly.
But that really makes me mad when you see someone destroy that, because that's their last place. That's their resting place, right?
Yeah. And a lot of those old tombstones you can't replace.
I know. So you got to get something new, and you know, it's not the same. Will Dunham says Cindy's mom died where I live. Yeah, it's weird when you think about these things, if the afterlife and all this other kind of stuff. I never thought I'd be talking about it on the show, but you never know what happens if you hit record on these things, right?
Exactly, right.
Yeah. Poison Ivy saying happy birthday to young man, to Joe there. So yeah, we're having a fun show. This was a totally, not really a scripted show again today. I said I'd probably go live when Rob come over. So we're, Joe, when you get a chance, have a look back at the show. Not today because it's your birthday and it's not important on your birthday for sure. Another time, take a look back. I did the FU tone treatment on the EVH Stripe Series guitar. I did it yesterday on the PV Wolfgang USA, and today was the last one I had to do. And man, oh man, does that guitar play nice, Joe. It's one of those things, like you guys all know when I talk about the futon stuff, how I get totally gaga over this stuff. But today with that Stripe Series guitar, I can try to show you, Joe, real quick, because Joe come in late. So there you go, Joe. I did the full, the titanium, stainless steel stuff, the whole kit and caboodle, and I did the big ass block in the back as well too. I didn't have any more black noise and springs, so I went with the original. But the way this guitar resonates from the nut to the bridge to the block, acoustically and through the amplifier. Like I was showing Rob, I said, okay, now this is my favorite guitar. I was pointing to another guitar, telling him which one was my favorite. After we come back in here, I said, okay, Rob, got to move over the guitars. This one's my favorite again, you know. So it's great. So a big thank you too to Adam at Futon for sending me that. I really appreciate that. I knew there was something coming from. I didn't know what it was, and I had to ask him. I said I was going to do an unboxing, and I got tied up. I couldn't do an unboxing. But I was like, "Is it going to be safe to open on the air?" There's like no blow up dolls or anything in there. I should be, because there are some kids that watch this show, sometimes. So got to be very, very careful.
And actually, Eric's face when he was playing it, he was just like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah,
it was just so awesome to watch. He just lit right up.
And that goes to show you right there. That goes to show you, and I appreciate you saying that, because a lot of people think that maybe I'm just doing this for the sponsors and doing it because whatever. It's real. You saw what I did. Yeah. I brought the guitar in here and I said, because when Rob was playing it on the couch acoustically, it sounded awesome. And I was saying earlier too, Joe, because you were a few of the people just joining later. it's nice when you get to, here's an example, Joe. So let's say your wife or your kids are playing your guitar and you get to walk out and go in front of the guitar and hear what it sounds like in front. That was the experience I got when Rob was playing the guitar on the couch, because Rob plays guitar good too. And I got to hear my guitar and I was like, that sounds awesome. Let's go try it through the amplifier now. Came in here and it just resonated.
Oh, yeah.
It was really, really nice.
Yeah.
And I was showing them the lunchbox amp and stuff like that. And it's funny, another moment where my eyes kind of lit up.
Yeah.
As you guys know that watch the show on a regular basis, on the 5150 lunchbox back there just over Rob's shoulder, I always play on the clean channel of that amplifier. Never do I play the dirty channel. It's a great dirty channel, but I strictly play on the clean and use the 5150 overdrive on that. I said, here, I'll just show you what the dirty channel sounds like. And the reason why I don't play it much on a dirty channel, because the dirty channel in that amp needs to be turned up a little bit. It's a little fizzy at low bedroom levels, so it needs to be opened up. I turned it up to, it was quite loud. It was rather loud. Not stupid loud, but it was loud where we couldn't talk. It was over. You would have to shout to hear on top of it. And man, it sounded phenomenal.
Yeah, it did.
It sounded nice. And I played a lot of guitars. Sure. You know what? Because Joe will appreciate this. You want to grab your guitar again for a second?
Sure, I can do that.
I'll do that. Joe, you got to see this guitar. One of the reasons, well, not the reason why we got together, but another one of the benefits of getting together was Rob. Rob and I are old school buddies, and this used to be my guitar here, Joe, if you're still in the chat. This is a guitar I had for many years. I used it on the road. I only used it for one song on the road. It was when we did Audio Slave, Show Me How to Live, and I was using it for a specific effect. But a really beautiful guitar, beautiful abalone type binding, whatever, mahogany body, solid. Just look at the inlays on this thing. I'll try to show it to you as well too. Just absolutely turn it this way. Very, very nice guitar. And I sold him this one about 8 years ago. And this is the first time I've seen the guitar today in about 8 years, maybe even a little bit older than that. And it just felt really cool again. It's almost like I never let it go. I had that one and a few other people I told on the show here too. I had a double neck. It was a 6-string, 12-string, really beautiful red quilt, which was cool. And you got to play that one a while back.
I did get to play that. That was actually a really cool guitar.
Yeah, my bass player that was in my band, I gave him that guitar, and I think I owed him a few bucks back in the day, and I said, here you go, take the guitar, and we called it even for a day. And it was kind of neat too. I really enjoyed it. It was heavy as heck though, man, playing that double neck 6 and 12. Yeah, a heavy guitar. That's why I'd use it for one song, and I'd be like, and I had a real wide strap too. It's probably like about a 4.5-inch strap just to kind of absorb some of the weight of the guitar. It was nuts. Just like 2 Les Pauls. Let's go back a little bit to the chat here as well. So lots of people wishing Joe a happy birthday. I hope you have a great one, buddy. And Sandra Lee and I have an anniversary coming up right away as well too. No birthdays for a bit, but for us, I should say. But we're at 13 years this year, coming up this month, so that's a big one for us.
That's cool. Man.
Yeah, very excited about it, and been the best 13 years of my life for sure. So Mara is joining. If I got that correct, Mara. Joseph Birch joining, saying happy birthday, Joe. And let me see here. Andrew Emery says it's unusual for remote farming communities to come into contact with plague compared to denser population areas, maybe trade. Now, do you mean like by going in and mingling with people, like when they're doing like the trades, like back in the day, they'd trade 2 cows for some lumber or that kind of stuff. So maybe if that's what you're saying, maybe they went to the larger communities and picked it up, brought it back. That very well could be, because I'm sure back in that day they traveled far across the countryside to go get what they wanted. It's not like they had Home Depot down the street, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's probably the case of it. Can you show, Charles Beckham says, can you show the Noob's guitar, aka my new guitar? Actually, you know what? I should do that. I'm going to go out and grab it. I'll show you the guitar. One sec. All right, you can hold the fort.
I can hold the fort?
You got it.
Oh, wow.
All right, you're the new host.
I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Talk about putting me on the spot.
All right. They're talking about the EVH Wolfgang here.
Oh, this thing's a sweet guitar.
I'll just step over the mic cord there for a second. So this is a guitar I showed last night on the air. This is going to be going for the YouTube guitar giveaway. It's a EVH Wolfgang Standard, which is the entry-level guitar. But I'm telling you, either entry-level guitar, and this is no lie, this is no sales pitch, it's an awesome playing guitar. And when I took this one out of the box last night, make sure everything, the only reason why I took it out of the box, as you can see, I'm not playing it because I still got the styrofoam and everything on it. All I wanted to make sure is that, is there 6 strings on it? Is the neck in good shape? Is there any cosmetic damages that I should be aware of? Because EVH gear is very good to me. If there was, they would say pack it up and send it back to them, and they would make good on it. There's nothing to be alarmed of with it. And then as soon as I touch this neck, it's the most beautiful neck in the series I've ever felt. Hard rock maple, and it's actually got some very, very nice figuring to it. I'll try very carefully to show it. For hard rock maple, it's very hard with that lighting there, but gives you a little bit of an idea. Some actual nice figuring to it. Not bird's eye maple by any means, but very, very nice. And the metallic finish on this, you can't really appreciate. You can see a little bit of the metallic flake to it. Absolutely beautiful. Floyd Rose, no detuner. There's no detuners on the standard series. However, with a little bit of TLC, whoever wins this guitar, spend a little bit of money from Futone, and Adam Reaver will be the person to speak to about that. If you spent like $100, would be a good start. 150 will get you everything you need. And once the person wins this guitar too, if they don't know about the Futone brand of products and upgrades, I'll tell you exactly what you need for this. It's going to play fine right out of the box. And I'll have to take a look. I was showing Rob earlier, the YouTube channel is going crazy on a small scale level. Like for some of our friends that have the, like Rob Baker, who's coming on the show on Friday, he's about to hit 100,000 subscribers, nice. Which is phenomenal. Some of our other buddies out there doing this stuff, that kind of subscribers too. Mine is we're just waiting to get to 3,000, and I'm going to try to move the guitar so I'm not blocking your head.
That's all right. I'm used to it.
So my channel is about to hit 3,000, and that's where I'm going to give away the guitar. And overnight, because I've been telling people subscribe, it's going nuts. So this contest is going to start very soon, and I'll tell you where we're at right now. Let's do this for a second. Try to do this for a second. I'm going to pass this to you.
Sure.
All right. That way I do not want to damage that guitar. All right. Let's do this for a minute. Let's go here. It's been growing overnight. I think I've got 60 or 80 subscribers overnight, which is crazy for this size of a channel. Yeah, 2894. We're 106 people away from starting this contest. That I've never had this kind of growth on my channel ever, and I better get used to that because I'm going to be giving away stuff all this year. As I told people, this is going to be the year of giveaways. Hopefully tomorrow, I have a phone call tomorrow to wrap up an announcement that I was hoping to announce yesterday. But if this goes well and the call goes well tomorrow, I'll be making a big announcement on the Mark Tremonti show. And as a matter of fact, you'll see what it is before you even hear what it is. This will be a new intro for the show and things like that. So it's very, very, very cool. And Rob actually got to see it. Rob and Poison Ivy are the only two people in the free world that know what's going on. And I know where Rob lives, so if he lets it leak out. And actually, I should say Little Eric knows too. And I'm more worried about Little Eric because that guy has diarrhea of the mouth sometimes. He says some things, and like, you can't trust him with secrets because he's a kid, right? It's like, don't tell Mom what I got her for Christmas. Okay, hey, I know what you got for Christmas, right? Yeah. So, and it's one of those things where I don't want it to get out before it's set in stone. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah. It's protecting my investment. And as you guys know, I work really hard for the show, so I don't want to blow anything before it happens. So if all goes well, tomorrow night you'll see a really cool thing with Mark Tremonti. And if anyone doesn't know about that, there's probably a few people that may not know about it. Mark Tremonti, Creed, Alter Bridge, Tremonti Project, friends and co-bandmate with Wolfgang Van Halen, friends of the Van Halen family, is going to be on the program tomorrow. And I have 18 questions locked down for that guy. I usually have, and I'm not going to get to them, there's no way we're going to get to 18 questions, but they are phenomenal questions. A couple provided by some fans. I can't put any more into the thing. We'll get some live questions tomorrow. And that's one thing I'll say now to anyone joining tomorrow. I'm not going to be able to say what everyone's saying. Bob says hello. Mark says hello. Joe says hello. I'll acknowledge everyone tomorrow. I'll say Joe's here, Bob's here, all these people are here. But I won't be able to get to every statement because we're going to be limited to, I think we're going to have 90 minutes with Mark. But at the same time, time's going to have to flow, and there's going to be some really good questions, and there will be some audience participation. And tomorrow I'm going to really be depending on Poison Ivy in the chat because if I miss something that's really important, she lets me know right away, and then that way I don't miss it. I can go back and recapture it. So that helps tremendously. Let's go back and we'll catch up a few people on the chat there as well too. 21 people watching. I appreciate that, guys. So I think Joe was saying he liked the guitar. Yeah, beautiful axe, my friend. Yep, Rob is now the proud owner of that thing. Lots of people wishing Joe a happy birthday. And yes, Andrew is saying, yes, Erica, I was talking about the plague and the trade and things like that. Okay. So that's what he was referring to. And yeah, so it is a sad story. Sadly, I don't trace my family history, so I don't know how close they were, but they were the same family name, and I only lived a couple miles away from this, so it was obviously probably close descendants, I'm sure. Mara says, I love that guitar. It's a pretty guitar for sure. Love that color. And yeah, everyone's echoing that statement. Yeah, it's a shame. I'll try to dig up some pictures. I have some really, really cool pictures, and I'll make a mental note to show you guys that. That's when I had my stupid long hair, And it was you remember that?
I had one of those pictures actually saved.
Did you?
Yeah, with you with that Les Paul. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple of good ones. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna actually, you know what? If you want, just take that. We'll throw it on the couch out there.
Sure.
If you want, just throw it down on the couch. That we don't have to sit there and hold it. Let me see here. No, that's okay. We'll throw it down. The Law says, I love the blue and maple board together. Absolutely gorgeous. I love that as well. Neil Banbury says, how do you enter the contest? That's a good question, Neil. I don't have the exact answer on that yet. And I'll try to give you the short version of the story. And I'm getting several text messages coming in. The last time I did a contest last year, I had that real big contest, had stuff from EVH gear, from Futon, from Tessie Switch, from Peddle Snake. Sinner had given me some things to give away as well too. It was done with one of these multi-sharing things, and you know, it went into it with good intentions of, okay, what's it going to be in the end result? Like, it gets me a few more likes on Facebook and things like that because people were sharing stuff like that. At the end of the day, I look at things, I'm like, okay, do I want more likes on Facebook? Do I want more YouTube subscribers? Yeah, I want some more YouTube subscribers. Of course, everyone does, because the more people you can reach on YouTube, the more you get to communicate and blah, blah, blah. As far as the likes on Facebook, at the end of the day, what does that do for you? It doesn't do anything. I love it. I love the likes on the page. But the contest, I want someone to win a prize and enjoy it. And I'm not going to say the person that won the stuff last time, they won a lot of stuff. I think they were a beginner guitarist. I think they played guitar. A lot of the people that were entering were like these sweepstakes people. And, you know, I was getting entries like you would not believe, thousands, probably almost 10,000 entries.
Wow.
It was stupid. It was absolutely stupid. And I still have the Excel files to prove it. But it's one of those contest things where just sweepstakes people, and they would probably just want to win it so they could sell it. And I don't want that. I would love to see someone, and I have no control over who's going to win, but I would like to see some kid or an adult or someone, maybe, someone win it that's going to say, you know what, and just rock out on this guitar. I want that to happen. Now, I have no control over that. So how am I going to do it? I don't know yet. It could be as simple as a contest form on my website. We can do the likes on Facebook and like and share and all that kind of stuff, but that's very, very hard to manage. What does that get me in the end? Gets me a lot of likes on Facebook, but that's not my goal. You know, I have a few days at this rate. The way the YouTube channel is growing, I thought it was going to be a couple weeks. I guarantee you, more than likely, probably come Sunday night, I'll be at 3,000 subscribers, and that's where I'm going to have to kick off the contest. So, as I said last night on the show, I'm bouncing a lot of ideas off of Sandra at Poison Ivy, and she's my best sounding board ever, and we'll channel some ideas. And even though I said we'll talk about it later, we better talk about it right away, because that's right around the corner.
It looks like it.
I promise you this. It's going to be 100% fair. It's not going to be biased. It's not going to be, oh, I don't like you, and, you know, this kind of thing. Whoever wins it, wins it. I just hope, you know, fingers crossed, that if they're a musician or if their kid plays or something of the nature. So we'll see, but it's going to happen right away.
Well, I promise, Eric, if I win the guitar, I'll make a video.
All right, there you go. All right, for sure. Charles Beckham says, giveaways are nice, but I don't sub just for a giveaway. I only sub for quality channels. Thank you for your hard work and attention to detail and new topics covered on this channel. I appreciate that. And that's another thing. Maybe I should say that as well, too. And that's a very, very good point. If people... a lot of times what's really good about subscribing to the channel, I feel here on this channel that I give a lot of helpful tips. Since day one, it's been a lot of guitar setup things and things like that, and I never, ever, ever profess to know it all. It's one thing, and you know me from years ago too, from school and things like that. I know the answer to that. It's like, I don't know, let me go ask Buddy, right? Yeah. And when it comes to guitar and even EVH, people assume that I know everything about EVH. I don't. I don't know... a lot. I shouldn't say that. I know a lot, but there's a lot I don't know. And I'll just say, you know what? I don't have the answer to that, because if I would say, oh yeah, he used that guitar in this tour, it was this place, whatever, someone's going to come along the lines, probably on my show that night in the chat, that's going to know way more about Van Halen than me, and is going to make me look like an idiot for making a lie, right? So I never claim to say anything I don't. Even in my sales career, I would never say, oh yeah, this has a flux capacitor and it's going to do this, whatever. You know, don't lie. You're going to get caught on it, right?
Exactly.
So, but I guess, so there again, that goes back to the discussion there about subbing. If you don't feel that it's a channel that you need to subscribe to, but you watch, I still appreciate that. Trust me. If you subscribe, that means to me that, number one, you like the content and you want to receive more. And that's awesome, because that means a lot of the hard work is appreciated. So, and it's worth it. And as you can see, you got to see a lot of stuff I was doing behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like a Google Hangout where you just go on Google and you invite a couple people. This is, it's crazy. And I'm looking forward to the very near future. When I say near future, probably next year, well, I'll have a producer, they either doing it remotely or whatnot. I can just show up and talk and not have to worry about this stuff, because it's a bit of a stressful situation. And I'm always worried about train wrecks, right? Is there something going to break over here? Is my guest going to lose their internet connection? Which has happened. I've had some people sometime where I've lost a connection 4 times, and people are almost ready to say enough is enough. I can't take it anymore. So where was I going with that? I have no idea. I'm just saying, it's one of those things. I guess the contest is going to be a fair contest. We'll be probably starting right away. It could be as early as Sunday, as soon as that 3,000 mark comes around. Here's, I guess, one thing you could say. You could always tell your friends, check out this channel, and maybe they like it. Maybe they'll subscribe as well, too. Will Dunham says, actually, we'll go back. I missed a couple. So I missed something here. It's talked about... Michael Bishop says, hello, Eric and all. Charles Beckham, I have multiple YouTube accounts and send all to UVH discussion. I appreciate that. Wow, nice. So you're definitely going to get alerted when I go live. That's the cool thing, is that one of the big things is when you subscribe, you get alerted. It'll say Eric's doing a show, or Joe Wentz is doing a show. And I get Joe's alerts. I'm subscribed to Joe's channel, and he does a lot of cool things. He'll be going to work, and he'll be doing some stuff waiting for a truckload or things like that.
Oh, cool.
And you get to see the other side of people.
Maybe I'll have to check out Joe's channel now.
Yeah, I'll send you a link.
Cool.
I'll send you a link to it for sure.
Sweet.
Very, very cool guy. Very down to earth. And Joe Burt says, throw it down, needs more relicking on it. Yeah, drop it on the floor. Adam says he needs a second guitar. Will Dunham says, me, please. I love EVH. I have a history of EVH in Pasadena. Please. I'd love to give it to the people that have the nicest stories and the heartfelt stories. If that was the case, that'd be very cool. I think it has to be unbiased. It's gonna have to go, and it's gonna have to be an automatic random draw. That way there's no no harm, no foul. And at one time I said too, I'm not sure if this is a rule yet, but in the last contest I had mentioned that people that were on the show on EVH Gear Discussion previously, like guests, they couldn't enter because maybe people would think if I picked, let's say, Joe Wentz, that it was biased because Joe and I are friends or something like that. I don't think there's going to necessarily be any restrictions that way. I'm not going to restrict it to countries. You can be anywhere in the world, because everyone on the show is from different parts of the world. I'd say probably, I think last time I looked at statistics, around 76% of the people from the United States. The next larger portion were from Canada. And then scattered 2%, 3%, 1%, throughout other multiple countries. So it'll be open to all countries.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So there's no restriction that way. But back in the radio station when I worked there, we would have contests and tell me your horror stories, right? Why do you want to win this new kitchen from XYZ company? Well, because my parents got divorced and my dog was run over by a truck. My kid has 3 legs. I was like, all these horrific, sad stories, and like, okay, well, how do I pick a story I winner, right? It won't be one of those, because everyone has a sad story. Everyone has more fortune or less fortune than the other person. So it's going to have to be a random draw contest. I'm just not sure how that's going to happen. Whether it's going to be, maybe it'll be comments on the YouTube video. I don't know yet. And about a 30-minute answer to a very simple question, I don't know. And I will get that answer by Sunday, because I'm forecasting Sunday is going to be the day. Just because I have the amount of subscribers that have popped in overnight, I'm going to have to do this right away. 3,000 is the launch. And there's going to be some other really cool things later on down the road. Just to let you know, if you don't win this first round, I promise you good things this year. Other plans I have to give away this year are other EVH guitars. I'm going to be giving away a lunchbox later this year. Not one of mine. I love those. They're not going anywhere, but I'll be giving away a new lunchbox later on throughout the year. A lot of cool things, so you can expect a lot of cool stuff to be given away for watching EVH Gear Discussion. And EVH Gear TV, that's another thing you're going to be hearing tomorrow. You're not going to be hearing EVH Gear Discussion anymore. It's a longer syllable for me to say. EVH Gear TV encompasses a lot more than just the discussion. Discussion is 80% of the show. For sure, it's the nucleus of the show, but there's a lot of things hidden in the show that are, I think, equally as of value. The gear demos, product reviews, live jams, software demos, all that kind of stuff. So, Will Dunham says, my skills are starting to erode. Please. Let me see. Quentin James, the best way to handle the contest is just go ahead and announce that Quentin James won it. He really wants that guitar. That's the best way to do it. Yeah, okay. All right, I'll channel that. I'll table that idea with the powers that be here with my board of director.
Well, you know what? It may come down to where me and Quentin might have to do a cage match.
Yeah, it might. Yeah, that'd be cool. Be like South Park and go Rochambeau out in the parking lot.
And there you go.
Kick each other in the crotch until one person stays down on the ground, doesn't get up, and then the other person wins a guitar. So there you go. I see I scroll too fast. Quentin James says flux capacitor. And the Tactical Six String says, I'm glad you're thinking about the contest. It should be someone that is sub for the content. I think so. I do think that's a requirement. Now, here's the thing, too, right? People can sub to me today, win the guitar tomorrow, or not win the guitar tomorrow, and they can unsub. I do want people to sub that want to be here. I really do. I don't want a bot to sub to me just to say I have this many subscribers. I would much rather, honestly, have 3,000 to 4,000 to 5,000 subscribers compared to some astronomical numbers that are out there that they're not real people. Because really, what does it do? They're not going to watch these robots that are out there, aren't going to watch my show.
Exactly.
So, I mean, and all that means to me is I can brag to someone and say, I got 5,000, 2,000 of them are fake, right? That's just bragging to the X person that's saying my show will reach this many people. But
isn't there something, though, that you could set up for that, saying that, you could subscribe to this, but, there's something where it would, like a window would pop up. I'm not a robot.
Oh, you're talking like captchas and things like that?
Yeah.
Not for YouTube.
Sucks.
I mean, it's a little more difficult that way. I mean, you can get bots that will have Facebook profiles, Twitter profiles, any social media profile. Yeah. Just when you think you have real followers, you can scan it and you can tell right away who's fake and who's not. There's lots of websites you can check on that just to see who you have fake people and that. So I'd rather the people be here for the content. And from what I see from the comments I get on YouTube and the people in the chat, like we see here right now, the people that are here, these are the people that I want here.
Exactly.
They're here, they participate. I learn from the people in the chat all the time. You'd be surprised every time, like at the end of a show, I'm writing notes. Joe said this, or Quentin James said this, and it's something I didn't know about. I'll write it down, and it's something I can share to the next person. And I'll say, and I don't claim to know, I don't say, hey, this is a tip I know on my own. I say, yeah, I was talking to Joe last time. Joe told me this, and I share that. And I think whenever you get new knowledge or new music you discover, it's best to share it with somebody right away.
Exactly.
Because you forget about it yourself, and then it's gone. It's like the tree that falls in the forest, right?
Yeah.
By the way, Eric, if you would throw in that lunchbox amp too, that'd be great. Yeah, no problem. Anything else I can get you? Like a bottle of water, Perrier? Do you need it at room temperature or a little cooler there, Quentin? I'll see whatever I can do for you. Let me see here. Quentin already has too many amps. And Charles Beckham says, I have the new EVH Lunchbox 2 amp. It really it needs the guitar as a companion. Yeah, it would be a very nice one to go with that amplifier.
It would.
I never did plug in the blue guitar to see if the electronics work in it. I don't think I'm going to. I'm fairly confident everything's good. I don't want to do anything that could slip and damage that guitar. I want to get that back in the box. Matter of fact, after Rob leaves today, I'm going to box it back up. I know everything's good with it. Put it off to the side, and it's ready to go. I'm going to keep it untuned. It's untuned, and everything's in low tension, just so when it's shipped again, that there's no damage in shipping. Can I just go to the house and pick out what I want? You're welcome to come over, but you can't pick out what you want. Come on, Quentin, give it to me. That's from Will Dunham. Deathmatch 2017. Poison Ivy's liking that. Mara says, do you have reviews of the UVH 5150 315 mic? Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, this was very, very cool. I wasn't the first one to demo the amplifier by any means, but I was the world's first to live demo it. And EVH Gear was very, very kind, and multiple shared that video across all their social media networks. And it's even on the EVH Gear website. If you go to evhgear.com, go to news, you'll see my video. It's a live demo and review of the Lunchbox 2. And then I've done a couple other live broadcasts since with that amplifier. So Mara, if you go back and look on the channel, just look, you'll see my picture with the amplifier. Or if you just go back and type in, actually I have the channel open. Is it on here right now? It's random every time. I don't see it here right now, but if you just type in LBX2 on my channel, you'll see it for sure. And I think it's a pretty good one. And I get to show it with the clean channel, show the distortion channel, and I also show it using the 5150 overdrive, where people think, like most people think you're crazy. When you have an amplifier that's like a tube amplifier, why would you want an overdrive on it? Because it works. And not because you should, it's because it works. Trust me on that. It's a perfect companion for the amplifier. You get that amplifier, it's another $199, and you get to buy the pedal, and you'll love it. And plus, you go to a friend's house sometime, they don't have an Eddie Van Halen amp. You want to sound like Eddie Van Halen? You bring your Eddie Van Halen box, the 5150 overdrive, and you got Eddie Van Halen in a box.
Exactly.
So that's why I say to do it. So there you go, Mara. In the best, Randy Savage. Oh, yeah. Chase Ombre, I sub for the ghost stories. Awesome. There we go. Ghost stories. And that means I have to do more ghost stories. If you're subbing for that, that means I have to tell more of those. So
then maybe I could come back and I could get into some of my stuff.
Let's do it. We'll change the lighting here a little bit, get it really creepy. We'll have some skeletons.
A Halloween show.
Let's do it. And that's Sandra Lee's favorite thing. So if
cool.
you want to have a Halloween show this October, we'll do it. I'll do a Halloween show, and we'll make it really creepy.
Sweet.
Get some cobwebs going over all the stuff.
Sweet.
That'd be really cool. I'm Hell in the Cell, Will Dunham says. Tactical Six String says, Rob Chapman has given away some great items, but he chooses, and usually it's someone that is the best player. Let me see. Where else here? So yeah, that's the thing. I don't want to do a guitar challenge because there's some people here as well too that are absolute beginners. There's some people here that are shred demons. There's people that kick my butt, and there's brand new people as well too. So I don't think it's fair to. No, don't. It's all good, man. There's people of all walks of life, of talent here, but I think we can't do it on a talent contest. It wouldn't be fair as well. So Mara's saying thank you, no problem. And that's very, very cool. Thank you. Will Dunham says EVH signed the right artists such as Eric B. Thank you. I wish I could say Eddie Van Halen picked me, but he didn't. His staff did. So it's I appreciate that. The nice thing is I know he's seen my stuff, so that's kind of cool. It's EVH gear has been extremely good to me. We were talking about this guitar last week, this blue one. And we're just literally talking about it, and it's here this week. Mm-hmm. I didn't even get a confirmation that it was being shipped, and I was out seeing a client yesterday on the road, and Poison Ivy texted me. She says, "There's a guitar here from Fender." I'm like, "What guitar? I didn't order any guitars." And then, maybe it's a contest guitar. Sure enough. So, when you got your people, like, I can't even give you the whole list of people. Go on the EVH Gear website and look at the artists. There's people from Phil Collin of Def Leppard to, all these guys, like, from some of the world's greatest bands. And then there's little old me on there. And it's an absolute honor. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't pinch myself. Yeah.
Well, I know there's a few times where I've messaged you privately. Mm-hmm. And I don't call him Eric Broadbent. I call him Eric Van Halen. I'll tell you, this guy here, he is like myself being a guitar player, and we talked about this earlier this afternoon. I've got tons and tons and tons, and I know there's a lot of other guitar players out there too that have got tons and tons of professional influences, mm-hmm. like Eddie Van Halen, Joe Satriani, Dave Murray, and Adrian Smith from Iron Maiden.
Yeah, good examples.
But it's the local guys that really inspired me, like Eric and Mitch Robinson.
Mm-hmm, a favorite of mine.
And Og.
Yeah.
Like definitely Og, Og and Mitch, and you definitely rank in like my top three as far as like local influences.
I appreciate that.
And like and that comes from seeing you like right from like Heartbreaker up to Finding Core.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a work in progress. The reason why it worked for me, I tried everything and I sucked at all of it. I tried sports. We went to high school. I was too small for the football team. You played football, right? Yep. You played football, did well. I tried football team. I couldn't even make water boy. I played hockey for a bit. I loved hockey, but I sucked at it horribly. I could barely skate. The first goal I ever scored was on my own net, and I actually celebrated because it was even scoring on my own net was hard. And of course, it's supposed to be hard. You're not supposed to shoot on your own net. And I celebrated, and I think I even kept the game puck. That's how much I really wanted that, and that's really bad to keep the game puck for scoring on your own net. But I tried that. I failed. And you know who it was Mike, our friend. I won't say his last name, but Mike from high school. Okay. A little older, right? Yep. Plays in the acoustic duo band. I go to school. He's about 2 years older than me. And I see him walking. So I've tried everything at this point. I'm sucking at everything I do. I was a bit of a comedian. That worked all right. I probably could have been a comedian if the music would have failed. I was always a class clown. But there was always other influences that caused that too. So I saw Mike walking down the hall one day. He was in charge of the social committee, booking all the bands and stuff like that. And he was walking with a girl in one arm and a girl in the other arm, walking down the hallway. I'm like, he plays guitar. That's my ticket. Mm-hmm. And I got a guitar, changed my life. And I faked it for a lot of years. Like I can play that. No, I couldn't play. But and then I finally figured out this is my ticket. right?
Yep.
And just stuck with it for the rest of my life. And am I at where I'd like to be right now? No. But am I happy where I'm at? Sure. And that's one piece of advice I give anyone, whether you're a shred demon, a virtuoso of all trades, or you're a beginner. Find something that you like about yourself, about where you're at with your talent level, and enjoy it. Never get to the point where you think you're better than the next guy, because you're going to get knocked off your platform very, very quickly.
Exactly.
Always have cement shoes. And what I mean by that, I like this an expression I like to say is cement shoes, you stay grounded. Where a lot of the compliments I'd get in the band before, I would always deflect the compliments that they were coming to me, and I'd deflect it to my band. Yeah. Say, well, it's my band. It's my band. It's my band. And I would, I would never take it personally upon myself, even with the best of feedback. I'd say, well, if it wasn't for my band, I wouldn't be able to do this, whatever, right? So. I
actually got into playing guitar a lot later. I didn't start playing guitar until I was, I think I was like 25 or 26.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was playing bass for a bit.
Yeah.
And then I was hanging out with this guy that played guitar, and I was jamming on an 83 Strat.
Mm-hmm.
Like didn't even know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I just picked up the Strat and just started noodling around. And he turned around and he says, "Hey man," I'll be right back. And he takes off, and he's gone for about an hour. And I'm still in this room, and this room's got like 35 guitars in it. So I'm like a kid in a candy store. I'm picking and choosing what guitars I want to play.
Yeah.
And he comes back and he says, "Hey, come on out to the living room." And at that time I wasn't working. I come out, my bass is gone, my amp's gone, my rig, all my stuff's gone, and here's this guitar and an amp. And he said to me, he says, "You showed me more in 15 minutes on that guitar than you have in the last 6 years on bass."
Wow. So he knew that was your thing then.
Yeah. And so it was like 6 months straight, 18 hours a day. That's all I did was I learned from this guy how to play guitar. Mm-hmm. And in 6 months, I had 6 years of guitar lessons.
That's fantastic.
And I haven't stopped since. I haven't looked back.
Yeah, that's a good thing then. So the bass is a cool thing, but it wasn't your calling.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Phenomenal. Love it. Let me see here. Where else did I leave off? Joe wants to say he loves Satriani. It's really funny, Joe. Just before we did the show, what were we watching? We were watching Joe Satriani saturated out there on the Blu-ray. I love that performance, and you'll be happy to know that Joe Satriani is in the works for the show. Hoping to have him coming up. I'm not sure when. There's tours going on and stuff like that right now too, but the feelers have been put out to his people, and that'd be really cool. I'm very anxious to have that one.
That would really be cool.
He's my second favorite guitar player in the world, next to Eddie Van Halen. I love Joe Satriani. I even told Rob, I said there were some times where I put Van Halen down for a little bit. And when I say put them down, I took a break, and was obsessed with Joe Satriani and Steve Vai, and more so Joe Satriani. Joe just really inspires me. He's one of those guys who can play from the seat of his pants, improvise, throw him into a weird situation, and he'll come out with flying colors. And Little Eric as well too. I really hopefully to have him on the show, because Little Eric, when he was growing up, he knows Joe Satriani as JoJo, mm-hmm. and he would watch him. He'd be watching him as a young 1-year-old. Just watching the concerts and just loving it. And I think he was more into Joe Satriani than he was Van Halen. So it'd be nice. Sometimes when I have some of the big guys on the show, I get to talk to them for a few minutes after the show, and Little Eric will come in and he'll say hi to them. It makes his day, and like Gary Hoey was very nice to him. Sent him some pics and t-shirts and kind of stuff. So
Gary's actually on my friends list on Facebook. I've talked to him a couple of times. He's a really awesome guy to talk to.
Yeah, he's back. When is he back? He's coming up right away. I'd have to look at the website, but he's coming up in a few weeks as well too. As a matter of fact, let me grab my book. It's if anyone wants to see when the show dates are, it's easy to go to the website, evhgeardiscussion.com, and go to events. I'll tell you when Gary Hoey's back. I forgot the exact date. Gary Hoey's back July 7th.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he's got a hole in his tour. He's got a couple dates. Like, these guys are so busy, just like Mark Tremonti tomorrow. Mark Tremonti played the kickoff of the Last Hero tour was last night in New Jersey. I forget where he's playing tonight, and then he's off tomorrow night. That's his first night off of the tour, and it's a North American and a European tour too. So
that's with Alter Bridge, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So you're trying to find these holes in people's tours.
Yeah.
So Gary Hoey's back, and if you get a chance, as you get closer to July 7th, if you haven't seen the first interview I did with Gary Hoey, watch it back, and you should check that one out. Being a Gary Hoey fan,
yeah,
great. Only talked so much about music, and the rest was just about life and advice and stuff like that.
That's cool.
A lot of people had said Gary was one of the better guests I've had. In quite some time. I guess I'll give you a bit of an update. Let's have a look at the calendar here right now. So we are at tomorrow. We've got Mark Tremonti, followed up by the very next night. Two big shows in a week. Robert Baker on Friday, and he's just a hair under 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, doing a wonderful thing. He's about to start touring to support while he's endorsing some products and things like that. He's going to be traveling the world a little bit. I think he's heading to Germany soon and then over to Japan, he was telling me. So that's going to be really cool. The following week is going to be really, really cool for the Van Halen fans. Historian and author Greg Renoff of the Van Halen Rising, a great book. You got to check that book out.
I'll have to check that. Definitely.
Awesome book. I think I have it right down here somewhere. And I listened to the audiobook, a lot of it as well, too. Greg Renoff, the author of the book, is going to come on the show, and he's going to give away a prize. I'm not sure we usually have a trivia question of some sorts. So we're going to give away an autographed Van Halen Rising book. It's going to be, and he was going to send it to me, and I'd send it off to whoever, but I said, let's take it a step further. Let's wait and see who wins it. And then I'll give you his name, her name, and he can personalize the book to them. He's like, great idea. So that is on May 12th. May 19th, I've got Eric Alper, who's pretty much done everything in the music business, lives in Toronto or outside of Toronto. He used to be head of E1 Entertainment. They were responsible on the Canadian leg for Chickenfoot, Tea Party, all kinds of people. You have to look up his credentials to see what he's in charge of. Just astronomical. He's a promoter. Everything music, he's done it. He's a consultant on TV, radio, the Junos, all that kind of stuff. You want to talk about music, the guy is a walking thesaurus. He's got almost 1 million followers on Twitter, which is great. People love him. So he's coming up on the 12th. From over in the UK on the 26th, going to be a little bit earlier because of the UK time zone. I've got Jim Clark coming on the show, from founder of Pro Rock Guitar. On June 2nd, Mark Day from Fractal Audio is joining, another fellow Canadian, and Fractal is amazing. He's going to be showing us a bunch of cool stuff. He's going to be doing some live demos as well, too, with the Fractal gear. I have an open slot on the 9th and 16th. There's a couple waiting for confirmations on those, so I may be filling those. A big one coming up on June 23rd, Mark Slaughter, who's just on fire right now.
No
Yeah,
way.
You didn't know about that?
No, I didn't know
Mark
about
Slaughter.
that.
Mark Slaughter is coming on.
I actually met Mark Slaughter back on Kiss's Hot in the Shade tour.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, we'd left London because we seen him at the London Gardens, right?
Mm-hmm. Good place to see him.
Yeah, and we were coming back, and we were at the West Lorne truck stop.
Okay.
And there was a tour bus sitting there.
Okay.
And me and some of the guys in the car were like, "Well, hey, look, there's a band in here. Like, let's go in and see what it is."
Gotta be somebody cool.
We walked in, and there's Mark Slaughter, Dana Strum, Blas Elias, and Tim Kelly.
Okay.
When Tim was still alive.
Yeah.
And of course, Mark turns around and sees us, and we got our Slaughter shirts on, right? And Mark says, "Hey, how would you guys like to come on the bus and eat with us?" And we're like, "Cool." So we went on the bus with them and hung out and had a couple of beers. And
oh, that's awesome!
It was really cool.
That's a wicked story.
It was really cool.
That's a wicked story.
Yeah, these guys were like really down to earth and like really laid back.
Well, the cool thing is one of my Facebook friends, and I've got to know him very well, Mike Himmel. You had to introduce you to his guitar stuff. He's phenomenal. He does a lot of touring, goes around the world playing for Boss. He's a Boss endorsee, and I got him hooked up with Futone, and he's using their products now as well too, upgrading all his guitars. But a really, really good down-to-earth guy, very humble guy. He played guitar on a lot of Mark's record. And now Mark has actually picked him up. I don't want to say for the whole tour. I know he's playing at least one show, but he might be doing all the live shows with him. Very, very cool.
Nice.
So he's, the new Tim Kelly, so to speak.
Yeah. Right on.
So very, very cool. So that is on the 23rd. Here's one you don't know about. This is going to be a blast in your past, too. June 30th, I've got Thomas McLaughlin, and a lot of you know him as Mick Rocklin. You know who he is, little Stevie Vai, right?
Little Stevie Vai.
Yeah, and he's got the world's absolute greatest Ibanez collection. You should see what he's got. A lot of them personally given to him by Steve.
Nice.
Which is obviously
he was in the. If a lot of you don't know, he was the kid that played in the video for The Audience Is Listening.
Yeah, the teacher's talking to him. Okay, Stevie, they're going to play some of that nice music. Yeah, that was great. And he has gotten
Steve Vai, such a nice guy.
That's right. That's right. He's gotten phenomenal since then. He's coming back with a new album. He's got some new stuff out on YouTube right now. So that's going to be a really good one. As I mentioned, obviously July 7th, Gary Hoey. The following week, I've got Rob Cunningham, a return guest from Daddario. He's the artist relations guy at Daddario, marketing guy. Phenomenal. And actually, no, I'm sorry. That's on the 21st. And then on the 28th, I've got Jake Morelli. Jake Morelli is a guitar player I'm working with right now, which is a huge honor. That pedal board that's behind you, that Idea Bench.
Yep.
That one was the first one featuring the Strymon power supply, the power supply, Pedal Snake, and Idea Bench. These three companies working together to provide this new ultimate pedal management project. The second guitar player in the world to get one, just a little guy, Jake Morelli from Ed Sheeran. So Ed Sheeran, Bruno Mars.
Nice.
So that's a real honor for me to be working with someone like that. And Jake and I talk a lot back and forth on Facebook and stuff like that. And it's so cool. You talk to these people that play with international recording artists, stupid amounts of followers, played in some of the world's largest festivals and things like that. And they talk to you like you're just on their level. It's very weird. And treat me like a cool dude. And I'm like, holy cow, you're just talking to this guy who runs a YouTube talk show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really cool. So that's where we're at there. A bunch of other to be confirmed. And there may even be one I didn't even read. I'm bad for that. I got to get them all on the website. Most of them are up there. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to have my buddy Sam Alvarado back probably every month, at least once a month. He watched a show I did back with him a weekend ago. He's friends with a lot of cool guys too. He used to work for Steve Vai.
Oh, cool.
He was Steve Vai's kind of here. I need to go. He was like the go get me kind of stuff, right?
Okay.
Steve trusted him so much. One time in one city, Steve Vai says to him, "Here, take my credit card, and I want you to go down to the music store and go buy me 24 albums that you think music you like." And the reason why Steve did that, first of all, he trusted him with his credit card, but Steve wanted to get a feel of what does the average Joe listen to, right? And Steve wanted to surround himself with other kinds of music. Sam shows back up with his credit card and receipt and 20 CDs, whatever, and he was a trusted guy. He's really, really good friends with Devin Townsend.
Oh, cool. Right on.
And he introduced me to Devin Townsend at NAMM, which was very, very quick. But
you actually got to meet Devin Townsend?
Yeah.
That is really cool.
It was very cool. It was very brief, shook his hand and hi, but what was really cool, I could see the trust that Devin had with Sam, because Devin does a lot of product demos and he's touring all the time. And Sam had said to Devin, he said, look, you got to the point now, you don't necessarily have to always do these demos at NAMM and, literally kill yourself, right? Like doing these things. And I was right there when Devin had this conversation with Sam, and he said, I really appreciate the fact that you said I shouldn't demo this. I feel good that I didn't actually play this year, blah, blah, blah. So Sam is not only his assistant, but a confidant and, an advisor. And so very, very cool. And Sam was a real trooper, a story for another day too, but as a trooper for NAMM, he took me around LA and showed me all the cool stuff. And at that point only knew me by a Facebook friend. And we've become very, very good friends since. So he has great stories, and thus I'm going to have him back on the show a lot as well too.
Cool.
We're going to wrap up here in a moment. Joe Wentz says that in high school, I listened to was VH. 24/7. After a good amount of time had passed, I realized I was putting myself in a bubble. So it's good to take a break every once in a while. And I remember one of Joe's first stories. It was one of his podcasts. He told me how he discovered Van Halen. If I remember it, Joe, I could be a little wrong on the story, but I'm going to try to go back to the memory, because this is one of your first podcasts I'd heard. You were basically going to a concert somewhere, and one of your friends had popped in a cassette. And it was Van Halen, and I think you were like saying, what is this, whatever, and that's when you become hooked. I've only probably remembered a portion of that story, but I'm pretty sure some of that story is correct. And Adam says, yes, been subbed to Robert Baker since day one. Robert's a really cool guy. We had a good half an hour discussion, at least 45-minute discussion the other day, just talking about the show on Friday, and I'm really looking forward to it as well. Very humble dude, and he's doing very, very well. And I told him he's been an inspiration to me as well too, on YouTube, for doing what I do as well too. He's doing a very good job. Chickenfoot Highway Star, that was a good version. They did a very good,
really awesome version.
Yes. Tactical Six String saying Mark Day is awesome. Yeah, he's good. He just did a video the other day doing some Pat Benatar solos and using the fractal gear and a new Les Paul he got with the Floyd Rose on it. You want to talk about guitar. Les Paul, Floyd Rose together. Nice. He did a good job. He motivated me to play and get a better rig, which aids in a more desire to play. I agree. Once you get good gear and stuff like that, it really does inspire you. Just I joked about this, getting new guitar chords sometimes. It's cool. And Joe Wentz is laughing. He says, I loved Slaughter back in the day. And that's going to be fun. I've been really preparing for that one. That's not even for a few weeks away, and I've been preparing for that one. I like to wrap up my show itinerary. The people, if they don't know what goes on behind the scenes, I read a lot of other interviews for the guests. You should see how many interviews I've read on Mark Tremonti. The worst thing you can do for a high caliber guest is ask them the same questions. Yeah, like I refer to this a lot in the show when Chris Farley and Paul McCartney are on Saturday Night Live.
Oh yeah.
God rest his soul, Chris Farley. And okay, so let's say I'm Chris Farley and I'm interviewing Paul McCartney. Do you remember when you're in the Beatles? It's like
that was so cool.
Yeah. Okay. So couldn't you ask something a little bit different? Remember when you're in the Beatles, right?
Yeah.
So I read a lot of interviews and I learn a lot of things too. There's a lot of things I don't know about certain guests. I have at least every guest that comes on the show. I know who they are. I know their history. I know their career. But there's a lot of tidbits I don't know. So I research that kind of stuff, and I want to make it a worthy interview, because if I make that interview worthy for them and they have fun, which a lot of the guests will say that was a lot of fun, when I invite them back, they're the first ones to say yes.
Yeah.
You know, if they didn't have, like, that's why I've had Steve Stevens on a couple different times. Steve had fun. A lot of these guys, Dave Nassy had fun. Gary Hoey had fun. And literally his wife was watching too that night, and we're texting back and forth, getting some emails back and forth. And his wife's watching. This is really fun. This is cool. And his wife is his manager and promoter too.
Cool.
And that kind of stuff. And I just got a production text message. So yeah, I gotta adhere to what my text message said. I get advice from the boss all the time. Yeah. All right. So we won't talk anymore about that. Let me see here. So where did I leave off here? Joe Wentz likes Slaughter. Obviously, he loves Slaughter. Cool story, Adam saying. Flight of the Angels loved Slaughter back in the day. And, okay, so Joe's saying that's correct. So I was pretty close on his way he discovered Van Halen. So I'm glad I remembered that story, at least a portion of it. New Gear is Heaven, Adam is saying. And Tactical 16 says, I've got a Floyd on my PRS SE. Let me guess, do you have a Torero? Is that what you have, Tactical 6-string? Because that's what I had at one time, the PRS Torero. You'd like that guitar. 24 fret. It's a Korean model. I'm going to wait just to see if that person says yes. It's probably what he has. 24 fret, no inlays on the neck. Zach Wild pickup set, EMG 85 and 81. Floating trem. And PRS was Floyd is sick. And Adam is also saying how to get Paul Riario back. Yeah, Paul Riario and I talk a lot by text. We talk back and forth. The only way I can get Paul on the show is going to be a Wednesday. He gigs every Friday, every weekend, whatever. So Fridays, he's not going to take a night off to gig to come on and do a show. But we text a lot. He's from Guitar World. He does all the demos. Hey, today we're demoing and taking a look at this, blah, blah, blah.
I think I've seen that guy's demos before.
Amazing.
Yeah,
if you've been searching for any kind of demos, you've seen his demo on something.
Yeah.
It may not be the one you were looking for, but you're going to see him. And I told Paul, his demos, his approach to YouTube have been an inspiration to me as well, too. And 30th anniversary, it was only 550 mint on eBay. Oh, there you go. And yeah, 30th anniversary version, 550 mint on eBay. Wow. Mine was a red one. And if you go for giggles, go on Futone's website, go to fu-tone.com, go to artists, scroll down, and go to other artists, and you're going to see a bunch of people, and you'll see me on the Futone website playing that Torero with crazy hair down to my belt, and you'll see it. That was my artist picture. And it's funny, Adam actually forgot that was me. Adam hooked me up back in the early 2000, and we've been friends ever since. And then one time I said I was going to get you some new pictures for the website, whatever. He said, "That's you?" He didn't even remember that was me from back in the day because I look so different, right? Yeah. I don't even know if I had the mustache, but yeah, I think I had the mustache and stupid long hair.
Yeah, you did. You had the mustache and the long hair.
Yeah. I had the other thing in the middle too. I had this little pitchfork thing.
Yes.
But I don't grow that back anymore because it goes completely white, and like the rest of it's starting to do, but gray we'll call it. I believe they had the current pickups in it, and it had the double birds and the 12th fret. Nice. Now mine didn't have any dots at all. They were all on the side, on the fingerboard, on the very side of it, but nothing on the front. And I got rid of it for two things, because one, I don't like 24 fret guitars. I can't play a 21 fret guitar. I feel like it's like they haven't finished paving the road, and you run out of road. And 24 frets, it's like no man's land. Should I go there? And I know my limits on a guitar, and I just don't feel comfortable on the 21, and I don't feel comfortable on the 24.
See, I'm the exact opposite.
You like 24?
I can't get comfortable on a 21 or 22 fret guitar. I have 24. To play 24.
Oh, cool.
And I guess it's for me, like it's because like playing thrash and speed metal, right? When you're looking at sliding down the neck, and you get down into that, 21, 22 fret, you basically, you run out of road.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got the 24, you've got that little extra to go.
That's true. I can look at it that way. Yep. Yeah, for sure. It's an extra little thing just in case you need it.
Yep.
And that, Adam is saying that's a steal of a price for a gorgeous axe for sure. And Bozique says, Eric, do you know if EVH brand is making non-Floyd versions of the newest different color EVH models? At this point, I don't think so. But one thing I can say, there's going to be new things coming from EVH, I'm assuming probably very, very soon. And I have a feeling, which I thought last night was more of a, on the EVH social media team, there was a couple pages that went missing on the website, that being on the standards and also on the 5150 stripe guitar. And I think that was in the process of putting up some new pages of some things coming. So and those pages are back now. So whatever happened. But I think in the grand scheme of things, me being a web designer myself, I know how stuff like that works. In the process of putting something else up or getting something scheduled to be published, some other things can be taken down. So just watch the website. I do highly suggest to sign up for the EVH Gear newsletter. It's right on the homepage of the website, evhgear.com. Just join the mailing list, and you'll be notified there of new products long before it even goes on the website. So trust me, do that. Get on the list. It's really, really good to be on there. They used to have hardtails for the older Wolfgangs, not seeing any new ones though. So that's the best way you're going to find out is to do that. And you know what? I'm gonna have to let you go by just realizing the time's 3:45, and I have to pick up Eric Jr. at the bus stop. So I'm gonna have to let everybody go. I think Poison Ivy's coming down to unlock the door, which is my signal to go get the boy. I didn't realize time flies when you get doing this stuff.
Yeah, it does.
So everyone, I'm gonna let everybody go. Join the EVH Gear mailing list for sure. You keep up on the products. Keep those subscriptions coming in on the YouTube. Tell your friends evhgear.tv. That'll take you right to the YouTube channel. Liquid Charlie. There you go. And Liquid Charlie's a good friend over in England. Unfortunately, Charlie, I got to pick up Eric Jr. At the bus stop, and Charlie can play anything. You give him 64 frets, 12 frets, 2 frets, anything in between, he's going to play it very, very well. Cool. And you got to look him up. I'll send you some links to his stuff as well too. Everyone, big round of applause for Rob Ashby, longtime buddy, guitar player friend. Nice to have him on the show today.
It was great being here, man.
And it's fun. We'll do this again sometime for sure.
Definitely.
Speaking of the little man, I'm going to turn over the credits and have the little man tell us his name and what he's playing. And we're going to both run down and grab him at the bus stop. And everyone have a great night. Come back tomorrow night for sure. Mark Tremonti is on the program. Go to facebook.com/EVH Gear Discussion. Go to events. There's an RSVP. You can RSVP to the event. Let me know you're coming. And it'll have a great audience for Mark Tremonti. Charlie, good to see you, buddy. I'm sorry I have to bail as soon as you come in. Let's catch up maybe for a few minutes tonight on Facebook. And congrats on all the success, buddy. And see you all tomorrow. Everyone's saying, turn over the little man. He's going to tell us what his name is, what he's playing. See you soon. Love you guys so much.
See you guys.
Cheers.
My name is Eric, and I'm playing Wolfgang guitar.
Video production services provided by Design39 Media. Visit design39media.com for all your website, photography, and video production needs.